Hey guys, Andrew here from Amiga Digital. I thought today I would create a really quick video about my first sort of involvement with SEO and the sorts of funny little things that we used to play around. So in 2007, I actually started as a web designer, web developer. I sort of got my diploma in web development on the back of 2006, and I remember trying to find a job. It was really, really hard, really difficult. A local web developer gave me an opportunity to work with him, which was great because it wasn't too far from home, and most of the interviews I had done up until that point was requiring me to sort of take an hour or 2 hour train ride into the city to North Sydney, and I was travelling from Bankstown at the time, so the opportunity was very interesting because I did build a lot of websites in that time. And during the reason I say I started SEO in 2007 was also by accident. It's not something that I said, let me get into SEO because that's something that I've dreamed about since I was 5. No, I wasn't dreaming about that when I was 5. I was dreaming about being either a ghostbuster or being the guy that goes out or girl that goes out and catches fish and brings them back when they go on the big boat and bring them back. That's what I was dreaming about when I was 5, not Google rankings. So a little fun fact, I actually got that job, and I actually started as a developer, and I'm not very good. Web development, not my thing. But during that time, my boss actually gave me a little task to do to fiddle around with titles and descriptions. And so when you go to Google and you see the blue link, and that's the meta title we call in the industry, and then the description underneath is a meta description, and you create that code or you optimize that in the back end of the website in the source code, and then when Google indexes your page, it shows up in the Google search results. So he actually asked me to play around with these titles, play around with these descriptions. And I remember thinking, why are we adding meta? Like, it's not even physically on the page. It's actually behind, and it gets used externally. Then I understood, and I started learning about titles and keywords and descriptions and why they need to be keyword rich. The earliest memory of SEO in 2007 was white text on white background. So what happened was, we used to tell clients, a page should have a lot of text content. It should be more visually appealing, but we need to create text content because it's important for SEO. And so we created these little spaces where they'll match the background, and like little content spaces, and we'll just dump white text on white background. So the users wouldn't see it, but Google will index that content and get rankings, and that used to work really well. Another thing to do that we used to do is we used to just dump keywords on the bottom of a page. So you have a page that's supposed to only maybe be really short. So let's say, which is the size of my head, that's not very short. But let's say the length of my head, and then it would just go, but no, it would be like 4 times longer because we used to dump keywords on the bottom of a page and all these sorts of things, and they used to work. It wasn't until I got my first job at eWare Marketing that I started getting into SEO full time in 2008. But that was very interesting to learn about, okay, keywords, titles, descriptions. So my whole journey into SEO was a mistake. But and when I got into it full time, at first I hated it. I didn't like it at all. So it's really interesting that it wasn't until, I don't know whether it was 2 months after or 3 months after starting the full-time position in SEO, that I got my client ranking first. And I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to mention them in this video, but they'll know who they are if they're listening. And it was for the keyword food consultants. And I remember I took a screenshot of that, and also took a screenshot of another client we used to got first for document storage. And I used to screenshot these rankings. I used to put them on the background on my computer. And it was at that point, the first place ranking, very similar to my dad trying to convince me that fishing is fun, that it won't be until you catch your first fish. And SEO was very much like that. I didn't really like it. Got my first big ranking position on Google, and I was hooked. I was addicted, and I've been addicted ever since. But it's It wasn't a instant love at first sight. It was a get my keyword ranking first, and then I'll fall in love with you. Something like that. Anyway, really interesting. I would love to hear, what made you get into what you got into, and any interesting stories that you have about how you got into what you got into. It'd be really cool to know. Maybe I should actually do a proper video on it. If you want, let me know if you think that's a good idea. Let me know, guys. Thank you, and enjoy your afternoon.